Okay, we have to be very, very quiet here. We're in the vineyards of Evans and Tate in the Margaret River, and yes, I think I can spy something between the vines here. It looks like a kangaroo, and there's a little joy in her pouch. So, that's a lovely little introduction to the vineyards of the Margaret River. One is looking at the whole concept of the new Australia and the new wines coming from Australia. Where do you feel the Margaret River fits into that particular puzzle or that particular philosophy?
I like to think of Margaret River as maybe not part of Australia, because when you're looking at a wine region, you're looking at the specifics of a wine region. Australia's a massive country, and it has incredible climatic differences in this massive land. So Margaret River, I think, is a very unique and brilliant little corner, tiny little corner of the most natural, beautiful sea breezes, incredible old soils, and I think it's unique and special. I don't think it fits. If you look at a map of Australia, yeah, it's a little part of it, but I really do think that it's unique.
Margaret River sits on the far southwest corner of the Australian continent. The only other land masses closest to us are South Africa and below us Antarctica. So we are basically pristine. We sit on a peninsula, we're surrounded by ocean on three sides. We're roughly 100 kilometres long and about 27-28 kilometres wide. That's the extent of the wine region. So everything to the west of 115 degrees 18 minutes east is the Margaret River wine region as prescribed by law.
What do you believe Margaret River as a region brings to the wines made here, and what makes the wines of the Margaret River so special?
It's the Mediterranean climate, Mediterranean maritime climate. It's very consistent. I mean, we've had 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11 as sort of really good vintages, a string of vintages, and it's that consistency of climate. It's the old soils. I think it's everything. I mean, I'm a believer in a sense of place being the most important part of the wine, or it makes the wine, and of course being a biodynamic vineyard, certified biodynamic vineyard and winery, that's in my way of thinking the best way that you can make a wine with a sense of place. But Margaret River right from the beginning has made good quality wine. I mean, the first wines won trophies in national wine shows without people having any experience about winemaking or from young vines. And part of that was the philosophy of the three doctors that founded the region of wanting to make quality wines. But the most important thing is, those old soils and the climate, and the consistency of climate.
Yeah, Margaret River's quite a unique area in the sense that, if we talk about Chardonnay for starters, Chardonnay we know is a very diverse style, but it is very well suited to cool climate regions. Tasmania is a great example, Adelaide Hills, Tumbarumba in New South Wales. So Margaret River is a little bit of an anomaly in a sense. However, it's the influence of the sea here that allows those cooler nights and those less fluctuations in temperature, which we naturally get very good acidity. So what we do with Chardonnay and Margaret River is, in a sense, we almost tone back the flavour a bit and let the fruit do the talking and the winemaking do less of the talking to make quite a very complex wine out of the fruit, not necessarily out of the winemaking, versus other areas in Australia where you probably add a little bit more winemaking.
Margaret River for Australia is a relatively cool climate. It's quite close to the ocean and has a very maritime influence, and is quite a diverse region, being a reasonably large region from north to south. And within that region, there are pockets that lend itself to most varieties, but the varieties that seem to work best are Sauvignon Blanc Semillon, Chardonnay, and Cabernet Sauvignon. And I think that the style of each of those wines is unique to the Margaret River region. In the cooler parts of Margaret River, tend to lend themselves to the Sauvignon Blanc Semillon blends, which tend to be clean, crisp, very fresh kind of wines, but with a little bit more richness and a little bit more body than some of the other regions of Australia. Chardonnay tends to sit in that really interesting border between ripe and minerally, so you tend to get quite a lot of good fruit, maybe peach kind of characters, stone fruit kind of flavours, but still with good acid that's naturally occurring in the grapes, and you get good structure around that sort of richer, riper flavour. And then Cabernet, again, it tends to produce that kind of powerful tannic structure, strong wine, but without being overpowering, and has a good balance between sort of leafier elements and riper elements, really aiming for that kind of cassis, blackcurrant kind of flavour profile. I think they're as a region, really able to produce quite distinctive wines.
So, Stuart, what do you really love about making wine in the Margaret River?
Apart from the lifestyle, I think what I really like is the absolute pristine purity of the fruit characters we get, without a doubt due to the climate, as we can see by the stunning weather we're having today. But just the freshness and vitality of the weather is reflected in the fruit characters we get, which then obviously is reflected through to the wines.